broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Collaborate and listen.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Grimm After Show here at AFTERBUZZ TV. We're kidding. It's very nice to see you all. Yeah, I'm bringing out all the Schwarzenegger level ice jokes tonight because we are talking hibernaculum here on Grimm at AFTERBUZZ. Guys, I'm your host, Zach Wilson. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to this and all of the AFTERBUZZ TV shows that you watch and enjoy at youtube.com/AFTERBUZZ-TV. You can also join us on iTunes, SoundCloud, all these fabulous places, and be sure to tweet at us throughout the show, throughout the week, using the hashtag ABTVGrimm. You can tweet at me directly at @ThatZachWilson.
And you can find me at Tauri J. It's TAURIJAY.
That's Tauri. He didn't introduce himself.
Oh, hi, I'm Tauri J. Miller. Follow me on Twitter.
Yael Tygiel.
Yael Tygiel. You can tweet at me at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL.
And throwing some confusion into the mix, Dillon Chance is here.
Along with Tauri.
And Tauri is also here.
One of them is not real.
Which one of them is real? Follow Dillon.
You can follow me on Twitter at Dillon Chance.
And
or
judge
at
for
Tauri. No, I'm just kidding.
We're leaving secret Twitter clues.
We're going to be putting both of their Twitter feeds through a Turing test to see which one is real. But yeah, so let's jump into this episode. First reactions, guys. What do you think?
I had a lot of issues.
Me too.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, sorry, it's so much better than last
Yes.
week's rapey episode.
Yeah, I feel like we're on the same page here. Because
Yeah.
last week I was not having a good time. This week, it was a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I still had a lot of issues. Still had a lot of issues.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. These last few weeks feel off.
A
like,
little
just
bit.
a little off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they brought on a new writer. Maybe they're taking some...
Well, no, I don't think
direction or
there's. I
something?
mean, I know that I think a few weeks ago, an assistant got a script, but it was actually an episode that we liked.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like a different writer or anything like that. I think what it is that we're on the 17th episode of the season. That means we have 5 more episodes to go. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yes, we have 5 more episodes.
Thank you.
We have 5 more episodes left this season, and that's just it's not quite enough to like have a whole arc just within that, but it's not enough to like start something new either. So I think there's a little bit of wheel spinning going on right now, and I think that's what you guys are sort of sensing, and that's why the Vessen of the week have been sort of leaned on a little bit heavier in the last couple episodes.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like, I mean, I think we've gotten used to a lot of mythos-heavy episodes, and now they're like, well, let's try to squeeze in a procedural, and it's just not working as well. I mean, because for a while, even the villain of the week would still kind of tie into what's going on in the storyline. But now it's like, here's our storyline, trickle, 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 and here's this thing that you kind of care about.
Yeah, last week it at least like had a nice parallel effect.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, we said that the last two episodes until this one have kind of been parallel to what we're dealing with Juliet, and I think that this one also is trying to play into that, but I'm not sure that it did, if that makes sense.
Well, she was pretty cold this week.
Oh.
No. I'm not encouraging these. I mean, I like them, but I'm not encouraging them. We have a theory from the chat roll that Dillon is a Cylon. Is he?
Well, no, see, but I think you guys are right. I think there's a little bit of wheel spinning. Like, why didn't we just go to Monroe and Rosalie with Juliet's Hexenbiest thing immediately? We go to them with every other Vessen problem.
Yeah.
Remember how 2 weeks ago, Rosalie was the first person to figure out how to neutralize a type of Vessen that has wreaked havoc just by being touched for hundreds of years.
Right.
Maybe they might have some tricks up their sleeve.
It just doesn't make sense. We always go to them. They are our problem solvers. And this time we were like, nope, let's go to an outside source. Oh, she says that this can't be fixed. She must know, she must know what she's talking about.
Well, I mean, I would say that Nick always goes to them, whereas Juliet kind of, they're all friends, but I mean, they're more of Nick's friends, and like, I don't think they've ever had to deal with this level of complication.
It's true. Juliet does tend to go outside of Monroe and Rosalie. Like, she's gone to Renard for help before. And she's also gone to remember that Spanish-speaking lady she went to that one time?
Oh, yeah.
But she met her through a case.
Yeah, but she went outside of her way to go, like, learn stuff from her.
She went, when she had a problem, she went to Renard. When she, I guess it's sort of like that, like, whenever you're, like, when you meet somebody, like, early on in a relationship, and it's just like, but one of you met them before the other person. So it's like, who are you more loyal to as a friend if there's like a schism like this, where there's really not a way you can be on both sides.
Right. So maybe she thinks of them as more of Nick's friends.
Well, maybe, I'm going to say something mean, maybe she should get some friends of her own.
Dang.
Right? Like, all she has are Nick's people.
What if she's a very introverted person that doesn't make friends easily?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Well, now she's really scary.
I mean,
now she's not going to have any friends.
She stopped going to work. Like, I mean, there's no one else that she can...
I feel like, no, we saw her in the last 5 episodes.
No.
Definitely.
Wrong.
In the chat roll or on Twitter, back me up. She was definitely at her vet's office taking care of a dog, which was actually Bitsy Tulloch's real life dog. Within the last, like, 5 episodes.
Yeah, I think so, because was she a Hexenbiest at that time?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Because I think I remember wondering why that dog didn't freak out at her. Right. Remember earlier the cat, when she had some weird stuff going on, the cat freaked out at her?
Yeah.
I think you guys are wrong. I think you're wrong.
Right.
Because she's been a Hexenbiest this whole second half of the season.
They said, you're right, you know.
Well, that's just, no offense, that's just Boo 69B's, and she always thinks I'm right, even when I'm wrong. No offense, Boo.
But yeah, I mean, we're getting some good stuff here. It's intriguing. At least we're moving it forward with that. But I am ready for them to just like get all the consequences out in the open.
Which consequences?
Of Nick and Juliet.
Here's one of my complaints when she came out as the Hexenbiest to them. Everyone leaves. I think the only person still standing in there was Hank. And Rosalie turns around and yells, "She's a freaking Hexenbiest!"
No, I think Hank had left. Hank had left. No, everybody leaves, and I think that moment to me, if you reverse engineer it and I like think about like how the script was written out, like that's a great moment of like everybody leaves and she collects. She's like, wait, what just happened? What WTF is going on right now? And then she's like, she's a freaking Hexenbiest. But it was a little cheesy on screen.
Yeah, just the way that like they zoom in. It was like a cartoon.
It would have been great had she yelled it at someone.
Yeah, that's why I thought. I didn't see Hank leave, so I thought she was yelling at Hank. I'm like, she barely knows Hank to be yelling at him like that.
It would have been funny if she, not even before anybody even moved, it just happens and she just turns to Nick. She's a freaking Hexenbiest.
Yeah. That would have been awesome. Okay, so last week I had a theory about, are we Julieting? Is that what's happening?
Yeah,
Julieting.
So last week I had a theory about Juliet that the Hexenbiest thing is what's making her kind of a bee from Lesser.
An ice witch, would you say?
Ooh.
Sure. And so I stand by that even more firmly this episode.
Oh, I think they're making it pretty clear that that's what's going
because
on.
when she tried to kill Adalind, right? She like was super right Hexenbiesty, and then as soon as she missed, you could see her being like, "What am I doing?" And then when she goes to Monroe and she's like, "I'm losing myself. I need help." right? We see Juliet there, and then as soon as she sees Nick, she's back into Hexenbiest mode.
So I guess maybe it's two possibilities.
Yeah.
It could be a pure defense mechanism thing, like whenever she begins to feel attacked, which anytime she's like discussing it with people, she tends to like that obviously want it to go away. She feels threatened, and so the Hexenbiest side sort of comes out, similar to a Vogue, but on a lesser scale.
Yeah.
Or I wonder if it's literally as simple as having a Grimm nearby is like almost like she can like feel like the hormones or pheromones in the air of a Grimm, and the Hexenbiest side goes, oh hell no.
Yeah.
I don't know, what do you guys think? Does that hold any water?
I still think it's just it's slowly changing her personality, and only like every now and then she snaps out of it for a little bit. I'm like, oh god, I gotta stop this. Okay, I'm angry again.
Yeah. I mean, I would equate it to being like a drug addict. Like she has these powers, and it's bringing out a side of her that she didn't know existed. And like the moment that the high goes down, she's like, "Who am I? What am I?" But like the moment someone's like, "Hey, you're a drug addict," then you get really defensive and don't know how to respond to it.
Mm-hmm. I still think that the Hexenbiest thing is making her a meaner person and changing her personality in her human form, and I'm just wondering why no one has yet been like, something else is going on. Why is she acting so mean? You know? Because even when she was going through other stuff, I've always feel like Juliet is more, she gets sad when she's upset, as opposed to kind of an...
Aggressive.
Aggressive.
Yeah, it's the Hexenbiest makes her aggressive.
Yes, an ice switch.
Sure.
So there's never been a good Hexenbiest? They're all evil? They're all angry?
No, I mean, look at Renard's mom.
Well, she
we talked
still
about this
seemed
last
kind
week.
of like...
None of them are like... None of them are Glinda the Good Witch.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Where's Glinda the Good Witch? Where's the good Hexenbiest that rolls in and she's like, I'm not like the other Hexenbiest.
I mean, Henrietta was all right. It seemed like...
I don't... But none of them are like...
None of them are like good.
Yeah.
All of them are either
Kind.
neutral or chaotic evil.
No, I think they're all in a like...
I don't know. I'd say his
malicious-
mom was chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay.
I think they're I don't think anyone's neutral. I think they're further, at least a step over on the, not evil, but like malicious side.
Right.
Well, no, that's what Dillon, I think, is saying. I think the chaotic neutral
They don't care.
comparison
These
is
are
perfect.
whatever.
Like,
Yeah.
they'll do whatever it takes, like crazy means, don't mind like going a little nuts, but they're not for the side of evil or good.
Yeah.
They're just like, this is what needs to happen.
Yeah.
We're using D&D classifications if that's
I
what's throwing
apologize.
it. Oh,
Thank
yeah.
Thanks, guys.
About a third of the audience is like totally on board, and the other two, there's what the are you people talking
Once
about?
you say that, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. This is something I don't
Yeah,
understand.
I had to like clarify. I
Thank
felt
you.
like we were getting
That
to
would be
that
a fun
territory.
role-playing game, a Grimm role-playing system. I mean,
You run into a Fuchs bow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so in,
Roll for
guys.
friendship.
So in.
I will roll a 20 for more than friendship.
Ooh.
You
Natural.
You're gonna have to do a charm check right there.
now that we've got off the nerd deep dive,
Anyway, but at the top, I want to talk about what happens at the top of this episode with Juliet and
I
Renard.
also would like to talk about
because what is happening? Like he's still dealing with, and this is again we're wheel spinning a little bit
Yeah,
because we
I was gonna
keep
say.
getting this like Renard. Okay, Renard's bleeding
Yeah,
from the chest.
I get it.
On a regular basis. Whenever he seems to get stressed out, his bullet holes just bleed.
Yeah.
Does that hurt?
Yeah.
So will this. So good.
it's
This is the creepiest exchange, like creepiest
How dare you
sex
judge?
exchange ever.
it's a
judge them.
Vessen stigmata.
I just want his mom to be like, I don't know what you're going through, but you need to calm down because I keep bleeding out of nowhere.
Yeah, I wonder if she's doing it too. They're connected, right? They got the whole dragon heart thing going on.
That's a us theory,
yeah,
not
that's
a,
what we believe. We
Yeah.
don't know if it's true. But I feel like, and we get that moment with the arms, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit.
What?
When he's in the mirror, he starts bleeding, and then he turns around and like basically space starts opening up and arms
It
reach
looks
at
like he's
him.
going to heaven, and all of a sudden it's hell.
Yeah, hold on. Before we get into that, because we will, let's wrap up with Juliet.
Wait, we have a question from Nikki S. Are we certain that Renard slept with Juliet?
And that's a fair question.
That is a fair question.
I think it was implied.
I'd like to say yes. I mean, but that's just because I would like to say
Right.
yes.
She just likes to say yes. You said that.
Shut up.
I think from what we got, what we saw was, let's break it down.
Yeah.
We saw Juliet like trying to put the moves on Renard. She takes her
Putting the
shirt
moves
off,
on Renard.
and then they make that creepy exchange of "Does that hurt? So will this."
Yeah.
And then they start kissing,
Yeah, but he was,
and then he wakes up in bed, and we don't see her.
right. Fair point. But I just want to say that she comes on to him, and he reciprocates.
Right.
They
Yes.
just kissed, you guys.
And then held hands through the night.
Yes.
Cuddled. If anything, he made out with her just to delay her from trying to kill Adalind.
Yes.
Yes, it was all a tactical thing.
Okay.
He kissed her a little bit, they cuddled, and they, went to bed. It was a nice night.
I think it's fair to assume they slept together, but the show could like reveal that they didn't.
Right.
They definitely want us to think that they slept together.
Yeah.
Right.
Nikki S. says, I hope they didn't sleep together. That would be very stupid act by Renard against Nick as a friend and a boss.
Yeah, but have you
Yeah.
seen Busy Talk?
Yeah, seriously. Fair point. Juliet.
I don't
super
necessarily consider him Nick's friend.
hot. Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
More as boss, yes.
Colleague.
But also, he kind of has to keep. It's one of those keep your friends close, but your enemies
Right.
closer kind
Yeah.
of deals.
But I
mean-
put them like more closer to friends recently. Like, yes, you're right. For the first season, even the second, like they were like against each other, and then like reluctant partners. But lately, I think they're more than like work acquaintances. I would
disagree.
qualify them as friends.
I mean, I think it goes a little bit further than just work acquaintance, but I still think Renard has to do what Renard has to do for himself.
Right.
And he will keep Nick there as close as he can to make sure he isn't enemies with him, but
Yeah.
also he's not going to go out of his way, I think, to...
He's a work friend. You know?
Yeah.
But that's not true. The time, like, just when he got shot, he was going to help Nick.
Right, but
I think that's
that
because
benefited him as well.
because he has to keep
Yeah.
Nick safe.
Yeah.
So Nick is.
I mean, yeah,
work
Nick
for
is
him.
his tool. He
Yeah.
is his sword, if you will. I mean, if he was really Nick's
hope
friend, if he was really Nick's friend, he would have at least told him that Juliet was staying at his house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a friend thing to do.
You call up a guy and be like, "Hey, this is what's happening."
Yo,
You
yeah.
don't
girls
wait
hit
till
me
the next
up.
day.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'll concede that point. But so then Renard from there is going on some trippy stuff.
Ryan Brando says they're allies.
Right.
I would say they're more than that.
I mean, they're like,
Sorry,
not to,
keep going back to this.
derail this,
Yeah.
but they're like Goku and Vegeta from Dragon
Nice.
Ball Z.
Yes.
They started
Perfect
out
example.
as enemies,
I love it.
and then they'll both fight mutual enemies.
Yes.
They're not necessarily friends. They're
Yes.
not necessarily enemies anymore, but they're always working towards the same cause.
Yes, and if anyone ever threatens Goku, Vegeta will kick his ass. And you
Yes.
know why? Because Vegeta wants to threaten Goku.
Yes.
He's like, he's
I'll
mine.
tell you this. I just feel so not nerdy enough on this panel.
It's a very rare thing for you.
Yeah.
Yael.
As
really is.
the only one wearing a superhero shirt.
I mean, excuse
Well, you
me.
have a good
I have
shirt.
and I am wearing a
We
coin
know.
of Xanthos.
Oh,
nice.
down.
How do you think I managed to keep people watching this show?
Game of Grimm.
They're like
Grimm of
teammates.
Thrones.
Frenemies? Teammates? These are
Frenemies.
options.
Enemies.
But they're not really enemies.
No. I really think they're work acquaintances
Yeah,
or work
right.
friends.
Regardless, I would
on.
love to delve more into the insanity of the hands coming out of the sky
Yes.
wall thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Well, my first thing was it looked like he thought like, oh, the light, oh, I'm going to heaven, oh, but then like these crazy demon hands came out. I was like, that's not heaven, that is hell.
Right. Well,
That's what it seemed like.
he had mentioned that like there's a price to pay for like what brought him back, and so like I assume that when he was dying or like comatose or whatever, he was on the other side, and now they want him back, and so like he's seeing that manifested before his eyes. I mean, because Zauberbeasts and Hexenbiest, they do magic. They're associated with magic, so it's not a stretch to think that they're kind of in tune with the nether realm,
Oh,
if
like
that
a
exists in
dark
this
plane.
world. Yeah.
Ooh, cool.
See, that's the thing. Like, my big question after seeing that is like, is that just like him tripping out, or is this an implication that there are beasts that like are more than what we
God.
see on this world?
would be
Like,
so cool.
is Grimm gonna start playing with the idea of other realms?
Yes.
We got some theories.
Astral Vessen.
We got that the hands reaching out.
Interdimensional Vessen.
They are Hexenbiest ancestors, like the people who've gone through near death, saying they've been met by family members, maybe. Could be Renard's grandma. somebody says grandma just wanted a hug. Thank you, James.
I think that if they were opening up the door for other realms and like an astral dimension, it would be a great way to kind of segue into what the keys do, and that maybe they open the door to these other realms and they'll allow like maybe the original Vessen to come through. Like
Crazy turn.
It's interesting. I really hope that we are not going there. I'll
Come
be
on.
perfectly honest. Like,
Grimm needs a hellmouth.
Yeah, it
yeah, like that was fine. It worked on Buffy. It was great on Buffy. Don't do it for Grimm. Grimm is a slightly more grounded show.
But that would explain all the crazy, like, super Vessen, like the volcano guy, and, you know, the ones that don't make any sense grounded in reality, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like the guys that aren't humans and
Well,
then turn
no, but
in-
you could just like, I mean, there are mystical forces at work, and I can buy those and expand on them. But as soon as you add other dimensions
Yeah, it
to
starts
the
getting a little
puzzle,
crazy.
it starts to make it takes the show that has been somewhat contained. Even as we like travel with like worldwide conspiracies, it still feels contained when you compare it to something like Buffy or Angel,
Yeah.
where you're going into different dimensions, and there's like the devil of this other dimension is like coming here because he wants to take over the world. I don't know that was actually a specific plotline, but
Right.
that's what it always felt like with Buffy.
Well, but I personally would enjoy that, because right now
Yeah,
we
you
spent
would.
4
Yeah.
seasons
Yeah.
in Portland. Everything always comes back to Portland. So to have this other layer of there's another dimension. This is what the Royals are protecting. This is like it like expands the world so much. Whereas like right now I feel like we are living in this small town, and like we're never gonna go beyond that unless we introduce something that's
Yes.
world changing.
But see, that's just while we're still on this, that's what I don't like. Is like you don't need to blow the world out. The world is fine. The world of this show is crazy enough already. The characters are why I watch Grimm and why I love Grimm. The characters are fun and they have room to grow, and there's so many characters in play right now that there's great opportunities to tell good stories without adding an insane other dimension to the
What
world.
if that's the spin-off and they give it to Trouble, and now Trouble's the new Buffy, and it's awesome.
All right, calm down.
Oh, sorry. I got a little excited.
Okay.
Trouble in the nether realm.
Yes! Astral Grimm.
Trouble at the Hellmouth. What?
Yeah.
Oh man, I like that so much more than Trouble in Paradise.
I know. Trouble in Paradise is out.
Yeah, Trouble at the Hellmouth.
Trouble in Sunnydale?
No, Hellmouth.
Okay, so there's a lot else going on in this episode, because like hopefully we'll get some more answers as we go forward in the season, with regards to Renard's trippy daydream and just how Juliet's physiology is working with the Hexenbiest stuff. But let's before we jump into the Vessen of the week, because honestly it doesn't like play too deeply into the whole rest of the story of this episode. Let's talk about Adalind and Kenneth.
Let's talk about Adalind's dress for a second. I love the dress. First off, that they're like, she is very pregnant, everyone. But also that she's like, this dress is too small and it doesn't fit. And then she continues to wear it the whole episode. And then when you see it, you're like, yeah, girl, that is really short. Like, we can almost see everything. We can see the baby. That dress is so short. That was my favorite part.
Nobody had like a pair of sweatpants that they could lend her or anything.
Give her some boxers at least. Like, at least those would be longer.
It wouldn't go with the outfit.
Valid concern.
Yeah. She's a very fashionable lady.
That's why she's wearing the dress.
Yeah.
But so as we open up, when we come back and we catch up with Kenneth, he's like, they have, like, Nick and his mom have to be talking. Like, he's like, I totally buy that they don't know where she is. That's a smart move. Of course they don't know.
Yeah.
That's like escaping the world 101. Don't tell anyone where you've gone.
Yeah, last time you said your complaint with him was that he was too young, right?
Yes.
I think I'm starting to agree with you. They showed him more this time, I think, and I was staring at him, and I'm like, he does seem a little too young. Maybe if he just grew like a beard, or maybe just some facial, like a little stubble, it would make him give him a couple years.
He really
he just looks like he looks like a baby. He has a little baby face.
I could buy that, but like, I gotta be honest, like, the more time we spend with him, the more I like this character.
I agree.
I mean, I said it last week that although he looks so young, he at least is getting stuff done.
Yes, he does get stuff done.
He got so much done in an episode and a half. You know?
Yeah.
So, yes, grow facial hair.
Yeah.
That's my suggestion.
But
I guess he is a prince. I don't know. What's so special about the royals?
For the same reason Nick never went, how do you know McGrimm?
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and even if they did, they could be like, they just are.
Okay.
Which I'll
They're
tell
connected. They got a lot of money.
When we, sorry to go way back, the conversation with Juliet, and when they were like, Nick, can't you fix it? And he was like, no, I can't fix it. And they're like, just like you did with Adalind? No. I was like, great, reminding the audience, we've established this, guys. It cannot be fixed this way.
Yeah.
You're welcome. We're just reminding you. I appreciated that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It helps to acknowledge the little like insanity that you have to ignore.
Yeah.
All right. So before we jump back into the story of the Varmative and all that, let's take a quick moment and let's do some iTunes shout outs, you guys.
Yay.
Sweet. Thank you everyone for joining us every week that you listen to us. It really is a treat. It means a lot. And if you want to help us here at AfterBuzz TV, the best thing that you can do is go onto iTunes, go onto YouTube. If you're on YouTube, hit us with the little thumbs up. It's just that button that's like right there. It's really easy to use. And then you can go into iTunes and hit us with a rating. The rating takes half a minute to do, maybe a full minute if you actually wanted to write something nice, which I hope that you do. But yeah, hit us with a rating, hit us a review, and if you do, you get a shout out.
Yay! Shout out. Okay. This is going to take me a while. Why don't we wait?
Shout out to Meisner.
All right.
I'd like to give him a shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out to Trouble.
Shout out to Boo69B for always being there.
Meisner Watch 2015. Nothing to report this week.
Thanks, guys.
On behalf of Yael. But yeah, thank you in the chat roll. Nikki S, James Fran, Boo69B, Nick, everyone that's in there. I can't find you all. Lydia Sabreros.
Ryan's joined us.
Ryan. All you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching live. And if you haven't done so in the past, you can do that at youtube.com on Sunday nights at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Pacific Standard Time.
Yes, Pacific time.
We're in California.
And technically, we're in daylight time, but
Just stop. All right, so let's get into the Varmative. What do you guys think of the like? I know we talked about a little bit. Like maybe we could use a little less Vessen of the week, but as far as our procedurals go, how do you guys feel about this one?
Okay, so I liked the Vessen. I liked the cold-blooded thing. It's fun. I was like, okay, cool. He's snake Vessen, like he's cold-blooded. That makes sense. Blah blah blah. I do not like how they froze over with like icicles and things, like the people. And I thought it's like, okay, I get it if you drain all their warmth and they're like freeze to death, but where did all the icicles come from and all that? When they were in the Grimm book. And they were finding all those creatures, and they like kind of hinted at like a Yeti Vessen. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was awesome. And they talked about him having a frost breath that froze people. I was like, that would make sense. If they were fighting this guy and he went around freezing people with his frost breath, icicles and stuff, that would make sense. But these guys just losing warmth, and then all of a sudden, there's icicles everywhere.
Maybe it was their bodily fluids like leaking out of their orifices.
And but he did it. I don't know.
I really like that. That's disgusting.
I mean, that's an explanation. Like,
I guess you could use
if you're
that.
dying to death. I mean, man.
Freezing to death?
I mean, yeah, like osmosis and things. I mean, the water in your side of your body might be trying to escape based on your own, your own body heat, and it's like, well, it's warmer out there. I'm going to shift towards that, and it permeates your own skin, and it's like, now I'm icicles because.
Okay, well, if they would have dressed that, I would have liked it.
As boring as I just made it sound, that would have been the show.
It does give it something. Just no one ever questioned like all the frozen stuff on them. They were just like, oh, yep, they froze.
Right.
Let it go. Let it go. I made one.
Nice.
Good job.
This Vessen to me felt like the same worm one a few weeks ago, where it felt like someone was reading about an animal and was like, I'm going to make this a Vessen. And so it's like, yes, they are cold-blooded. So like snakes, who if you put them in cold temperatures, they will hibernate because of their blood and how that works. And they also sleep in giant snake piles to keep warm, etc. So I felt like that was how this Vessen was created.
Yeah, but the thing with that is, like, there was there were flaws to this.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
And that was my
Because
issue.
like those snakes can just roll out into the sunlight, or like he said, get in some warm water or put a heater on.
Right.
But these guys, they were only affected by body warmth.
Yeah, and calling
It's like, okay,
and like
everybody.
calling out like the question, like, why don't they just hibernate south for the winter?
Yeah.
They said that doesn't work.
But but they didn't really explain why, because
Yeah.
like then
It's
they
not how they work.
but that does, but like
They need body heat. They did explain. Other heat doesn't affect them.
Well,
They need
yeah.
body
then
heat.
why weren't they frozen in the car?
Because they had each other.
But I guess it was steadily getting colder.
So I think because they had each other, and then the car was working, so they were
Right.
moving, so it was fine.
I think it's like, so they're all running on they have an internal body heat battery. And so they will say exchange body heat via hug. So they're a very friendly hugging people. So every day they meet people, they hug them, they take their body heat, fill their batteries up. Aww. They fill their batteries up. And so I think at the point that they were in the car, they were essentially still on what could be full battery. But as they were leaving the car, they were exposed to the nature outside world, which depleted their battery a little bit more or faster.
I imagine that all sound playing while they were sucking the blood out of people's throats.
But see, here's my big issue with it is that like this fact that like the way that this works, like they can't migrate south, they have to hibernate in this. A lot of the like things about these Vessen have made sense in like an overall like evolutionary reasoning. This doesn't ring true to me at all. Like them freezing, except for from body heat. Like I understand that that's what they're saying is the reason. But that doesn't add up. There's no logic to that. And also, if that was the truth, why would it have mattered that the air was the air next to them was cold or really warm in the basement? Like any animal that needs to stay warm can stay warm from the weather as well as another creature. They only hibernate together in those giant snake piles, as you so eloquently described it.
I feel like they were like a weird mix between a vampire and a snake
Yeah.
Like it was,
but like the vampire aspect didn't ring true.
right,
to me.
it didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
The science of this Grimm Vessen just didn't add up.
Well, here was my big issue
And why
with
aren't
that.
the other Snake Vessen cold-blooded too?
Yes, I had that thought, but beyond that, like, my issue was, at the end, Nick goes, they're all innocent. But there's no way to prove that they're all innocent. There has to be another way that these people are getting their body warmth. Whether he knows it or not, they probably are also feeding on people. They just haven't found their bodies.
Well, they made it seem like they didn't have to feed on people unless it was an emergency.
Yeah, I mean, they said that, so in the winter, they get together and sleep in these piles.
I feel like these brothers were troublemakers and they just took too long.
Yeah.
And they were late and then their car broke
That's
down.
what I was thinking.
But see that right there, if it doesn't help to migrate south for the winter, why do they only need to like steal people's body heat through murder when it turns to wintertime? They could just, if you move to the equator, then it would just be summer temperatures all year round.
That's like telling people in California, if there are earthquakes, why do you live there? It's like the same thing.
But like when they said that they can't,
okay.
Different.
But we said but the show
I don't need to murder someone when there's...
Yeah, we don't need earthquakes to live.
because the show said they can't migrate south. That doesn't work.
Right.
So I'm saying that this is the issue
You're
that I
saying that
had is that there's
Even in the summertime, they should be having to huddle up together.
If that's
Right.
the way it is, that's the way it is. But
Yeah.
that wasn't what the show presented, and
Well-
that's just like I'm used to Grimm being better about those
Yeah.
things. So I feel the need to call it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yael, why did you write it this way?
Sorry, guys. I just like the guy with the tattoos. I don't know. So I have a theory based on the snake people, and I've said it a few episodes now. If we go back to the guy with the video camera and now the dead ice bodies everywhere, and the fact that they've pointed out multiple times, like, how are we going to explain this one? I think we're straight up heading towards, a new world of people becoming aware of Vessen, and like that. Not to predict, but I predict next season is going to be all about the council dealing with people having to deal with.
Ooh, nice. See, that's what I was like. How I was saying before. Like, there's lots that you can do within this world. That
yeah.
introducing something else insane that like is more fun and transforms the way that the show behaves with our characters.
It'd be cool if we randomly saw, like, news or reports coming in from other towns of, like, werewolf on the loose in New York? What's going on? Random stuff like that.
But, like, then we could even get, like, there'd be more Grimms, like, showing up because, like, it's all out in the open. They can have, like, Grimm forums online. Like,
we have
And finally, a digital version of it.
seriously. We have a theory about the hibernation. So maybe it's part of their nature that they only need... they need warmth more quickly when they're not in hibernating season. That's the theory.
Okay.
all right.
Maybe it's part of their nature. They need more warmth more quickly when they're not in hibernation season.
Okay, so like their batteries drain a little faster
They build it
outside
up
of the
throughout
the
hibernation
year.
season.
That's what Nikki says.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, like, when it's not hibernation season, they don't need it as often.
Yeah.
They can get
Right.
it through hugs and handshakes. But
Right.
when hibernation season comes in, it's like, oh, okay, we gotta go hibernacle. What do they call it?
The hibernaculum.
Oh, they're gonna go hibernaculating?
Yeah.
Is that what Monroe said?
Yeah.
Hibernaculating.
It's basically an animal heat orgy.
That was the best description ever.
I disagree. There was no orgy to be had.
Look, here's
don't know what they
I
did
saw.
before they got in that pile?
Here's
Yeah,
what
they
I
were-
saw. It was a pile of people in their underwear.
Yeah.
You're telling me you don't lie down next to a pile of almost naked people and something doesn't happen?
I'm just saying, I expected an orgy.
Why do you
Well-
think it was so hot in there?
Yeah. I mean,
They were sleeping. I don't know about you, but it gets really hot when you sleep.
there was a
me, it
gets
high
really hot
exchange
when
of
you do.
bodily heat. Yes.
Tell me more, guys.
It gets hot when you do physical activity too.
I see.
Yeah. Isn't your
Like
body
jumping
temperature
jacks.
go down when you sleep? Isn't that normal?
I have some reasons.
Your heart slows down?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that question, Dylan.
okay, sorry.
But either way, it was like an animal heat orgy.
Sure.
Because the heat was going into and out of everybody at that party. At that pile.
Nice.
It's just heat. It's energy, you guys. There's nothing dirty about it. They're swapping heat between each other.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
I have iTunes reviews if you're ready.
Yeah, let's. But before we talk, let's talk about the rest of this episode. And before we leave, before we get into predictions, those of you who want to hear about your iTunes shoutouts can hang around till
You
then.
guys want to stick around because there's one that's great.
Good. All right, I'm excited.
It's super negative.
Wow.
About me. It's great. I'm so excited.
All right. I'm glad you're excited. But you know who wasn't very excited this week was Monroe.
Smooth.
Yeah.
Monroe's having a rough time of it.
He's got like PTSD.
I mean, he does. I mean, look, he went through an extremely traumatic experience.
Yeah.
Being kidnapped, like being told we're gonna kill you by impaling you on this giant stick and then setting you on fire.
Yeah.
It was basically what he thought was about to happen, and he was just so lucky that it didn't.
Yeah.
The Vessen ride was one of the worst experiences of his life.
Yeah.
So you can imagine that he would have a rough go of it. I mean, what do you guys think about Rosalie's reaction?
I thought that she handled it really well.
Yeah.
I thought it was really tender and loving the way that she was like, I'm going to let him tell me when he's ready, but I'm going to give him a nudge. And I'm also glad that they're addressing the fact that that was so traumatic because it's like you said, it's the worst thing that's happened to him. So why would he just be like, I'm going to go back to normal life? It's like, no.
Yeah.
Stuff affects you.
Yeah, I feel like we should have been dealing with it sooner.
Yeah, I thought that the episode after,
Yeah.
and when he was just all like, hey, wasn't that crazy time?
I'm back to being Monroe.
Well, I think that he was triggered. Like, PTSD doesn't necessarily happen immediately, but sometimes something will spark a memory and then it snowballs from there.
That clock.
Yeah. Time.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. It was time.
It was time that triggered it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the thing that starts the process of like, it wasn't just like the concept of time, the general concept of time. But like he was thinking about how like we don't have a lot of time on this earth, and then that started connecting back to, oh yeah, remember how I almost didn't have any time?
Right.
Yeah.
And just like whenever you're depressed or whenever you're like dealing with something really traumatic, even the littlest reference to whatever it is will force your brain like that way where you're like, I don't want to think about that right now. I have other things to do.
Right.
But it like crawls in through a back door.
Now I'm just imagining something traumatic, trying to get through a doggy door, and it's like stuck halfway. Sorry. Anyway.
Trauma.
Remember me.
Okay.
All right. Well, do you guys have any other thoughts on this episode?
No.
All right. Well, one last thing I want to talk about because Yael and I were talking about a little bit earlier, off air.
Okay.
Was just because a number of weeks ago when we thought we were going to lose Monroe, when Wu starts to find out about everything, I had talked about, like, I think we're going to lose a character because there's sort of an overload. There's so many people in a similar fashion of, like, we're within the Vessen world, but we're not in the Vessen world because you have Hank, you have Wu, and you have Juliet. Like, sort of, like, in but not. And I think that that's basically what's happened with Juliet is we've effectively lost Juliet. Especially from the Scooby Gang.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, this episode we definitely saw, and I loved seeing the four guys go into that house together.
The peek up over the wall.
Yeah, over the wall. So cute. And having, Wu and Hank there together, and Wu and Monroe. And I love seeing the four of them fighting together. Mm-hmm. And I think this Juliet thing is temporary. And I think that once she gets back into the gang, I don't think we're losing anybody. I think they're finding a way to make it all work and to fit everybody in. And I really like it.
Well, it certainly would play into the idea of Vessen being known to the world if then we're just like cops dealing with this stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm on the other side of the fence from you in that I think that Juliet is going to go onto Kenneth's team because he states that he wants to take advantage of her. And I think that it would be a great carrot to be like, I can help you. All you have to do is help me help you.
Well, we're getting closer and closer to predictions. So before we do that, Yael, why don't we do some iTunes shout-outs?
iTunes shout-outs.
And then predictions.
Okay,
All right.
So GamerGirl2330 says, never miss a show, 5 stars. I love watching this after show from AfterBuzz. I love Zach's theories and Yael's crush on Meisner. Thanks. I can see why she finds him attractive. I hope you guys catch all the can get the dreamy David Guintoli, on the show. Or if Josh comes back, get that actor. I like this person already. I think both Meisner and Josh will be back when they eventually figure out what the keys are. That's a really good idea. I hope the keys are Reaper related. Haven't seen them since season 1. Bring back the Reapers.
Yeah, the Reapers.
Yeah.
They got scared off when Nick was like, here's the head of the person you sent.
Yeah. Sarah527 says, great, 5 stars, another great recap from AfterBuzz, well produced with the hosts that are as excited about the show as I am. Yeah.
Megan
Lore, 5 stars, best Grimm podcast. We agree. This is the best Grimm podcast in production. I look forward to it every week. Yay! Okay. Classic R&B lover.
Oh, boy.
Gives us 4 stars.
Oh.
Love the podcast. This is a terrific podcast for Grimm.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry. Love the discussion and the enthusiasm of the host. I did, however, have to deduct 1 star because Yael is creeping me out with her Meisner obsession, which has now entered stalker territory.
It was always at stalker territory.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's nothing new.
I have yet to stalk anyone. If she dials it back, this will return to being a 5-star. Thank you, classic R&B lover. I would like to point out that until reading the reviews, had not said his name all episode.
Also, so it's only a moratorium on Yael talking about Meisner, right? So I can talk about it as much as possible.
Yeah, Tari can fawn over him all he wants.
Have you guys seen Meisner recently? His abs and his chest?
All right.
Oh, jeez.
Well,
that beard.
Let's talk about... Yeah. Thank you.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay.
I predict I will be shaking the hand of Steven in the booth. Thank you. Let's get into predictions. Next week. Woo!
Yeah.
Next week looks intense.
Yes.
Juliet's at the bar, hitting on dudes, and then hitting dudes with stuff around the bar.
Is that not how you guys go to bars? That's what you do. Hit on them and then you punch them in the face. No?
Yeah, totally.
But then Juliet being like, I like this power. I don't want it to go away. But Hank, they're like, then you think you've seen crazy things before. Just wait till you see this. And then Hank's eyes are glowing.
What? I didn't see it.
What do you guys think that means?
I'm going to be a pessimist and say that it's a dream.
A dream.
Or a
Again.
nightmare, possibly.
I would go closer to, I don't think, although I would love a storyline where Hank now becomes sort of Vessen, and basically we're all becoming
something.
Yeah, it's something interesting. It sort of reminds me of the plotline of, I think it was season 3 of Heroes. Where they started introducing the ability to give people power. So some of our secondary characters who were regular became powered.
Yeah.
And it's if you do it right, it's fun because it gives them a new perspective on the world.
Well, did they tease a Vessen of the Week?
No, not specifically.
What if it's some kind of mesmerizing Vessen that
or it could be a possession.
I mean,
right.
there's a theory in the chat roll that Hank, it's a shapeshifter who went to look like Hank.
Maybe.
Which did not cross my mind, but as soon as you said it, James, I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, that fits.
Or like a mind control or
I
something.
have 2 theories. One, that it is the Vessen view of what they see when they vogue of humans. So, whereas Grimm, it's all darkness, but humans, it's light. So it's how they distinguish the two. It's not a very sound theory.
Wait, so you're saying if I were Vessen,
So if you
and
were
I
Vessen
vote,
and you vogued and looked at me,
I
you would see
that.
light as
I
opposed
see.
to the
Looking at me
darkness
and
of a
you would see
Grimm.
darkness.
Yes.
Interesting.
Well, that's just because you're a hologram, Dylan.
Well, yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Cylon.
My second
Yes.
theory goes along with my other dimensional theory in that,
Okay.
like,
Yes, here we
in
go.
that it'll be someone from that side speaking through Hank to Renard, being like, "You belong to us. Come back home," etc.
I am Cthulhu. Yes. Me and Tyra on the same page here.
Oh yeah.
Definitely craziness is down the road.
Yeah.
5 episodes to go. We know we're coming back next year. So
Yeah.
who knows what they could do. It's great that they have, though. They knew they were getting picked up before they finished writing the season, so they had plenty of time
Right.
to plan out what they're going
Right,
to do.
a huge
Yeah.
cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
Damn you, let me see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it. Guys, be sure to let us know what you're thinking about the show, about the future. I want to know your predictions on the iTunes comments, in the YouTube comments. Let us know. Dillon Chance, until next week, where can people keep up with you?
You can keep up with me on Twitter at Dillon Chance. And next weekend, I will be at Star Wars Celebration for my Star Wars Rebels show. So if you guys love Star Wars, follow me. I will live tweet everything. And we're going to have videos. We're going to try to interview people there. Get whatever we can. So follow me on Twitter at Dillon Chance.
Awesome. If you want to see interviews from WonderCon from last weekend, you can go to Yael.tv. That's YAEL.tv. I talked to the cast of Orphan Black and Gotham, and Grimm wasn't there, but iZombie, The Flash, Salem, some other people. Also, I'm on Twitter doing a giveaway with awesome stuff at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL.
Nice. Once again, I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Tauri J. It's TAURIJAY. Yep.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter at @ZachWilson, ThatzachWilson, and a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz. Tomorrow night, the Helix season finale with showrunner Stephen Maeda. And then on Wednesday, join me for the first 2 episodes of Daredevil. I'm so excited. We're going to be doing 2 a week, Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Be sure to tune in. Guys, I'm Zach Wilson, and thanks for geeking out with us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.